My name is Kellie Fischer. I was chair of the chamber at the end of 2020 through 2021. Fabulous time to be to reign over the Arlington Chamber of Commerce. But it actually was a perfect time for me to be involved in that role. So I am grateful that the timing did work out in that way. I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Texas Rangers Baseball Club and all of our affiliated entities, which includes a lot of land development activities and activities all over the country and even some outside of the country. Very stressful, no different than it was for the chamber in all sincerity, just wondering where your dollars are going to be coming from and how many dollars will you need to be spending out. Those things are really challenging to predict in an era of something like a pandemic and COVID. So that's why I am truly grateful that I was part of the chamber in that role at that time, because I think I was uniquely in an area of expertise to be able to help benefit not only the chamber from my expertise, but also learn things from the chamber that maybe I hadn't heard or had the specifics on that I could apply at the Rangers as well. So it was really helpful in that regard. Well, the annual dinner, first of all, has evolved a little bit, and what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, dinners I had participated in, I'm going to be very honest, they were a little dry, very rehearsed, very scripted, and not necessarily the most entertaining event to go to each year. Then during COVID, it was done entirely virtually. So I am so proud and excited that the annual dinner I got to be affiliated with, and in all candor, every member of the chamber got to be affiliated with, turned out to be, to me, the most spectacular evening ever that the chamber has hosted, with the Tonight Show theme, of which Britton Merritt at the chamber was very much a front runner and the person running the show, so to speak. And to have that event pulled off with the small amount of resources that the chamber had at the time, resources in terms of humans and finances, it's unbelievable. I mean, it was just truly a very special, fun, cheerful event, and I'm just so thrilled. Well, let me tell you, I'm an accountant by day. That is what I do day in and day out. When Michael asked me to lip sync, would I consider lip syncing in front of 600 people? My first thought was, oh no, this is not for me. But I will tell you, I happen to love lip syncing in my car by myself. And so I was like, all right, maybe I should try this. And then when I realized I was going to get to compete against Jim Maybach, I was like, oh, I'm doing this for sure. And I will tell you, I was scared out of my mind, just standing in front of all these people, hanging on every non-verbal thing I was doing, which was dancing and moving my lips. But it was truly a blast. And when it was done, I was way more excited than when I started. So thank you for that crazy opportunity, something I don't know that I'll ever do again, but I'm glad I did it once. One of the challenges the chamber was going through in prior tenures was being able to constantly have enough funds to do things that were new or different, or just take on any new initiatives. And it was felt like living paycheck to paycheck, if that makes sense. And I had been involved with the finance committee for many years, and it was always my goal and intent to find a way for the chamber to be able to build a surplus. And what was so wonderful is I wasn't alone in that thought process. Most others on the finance committee and any others that had the wherewithal to understand some of the financial challenges of the chamber recognized that also was an important need. And then, of course, Michael recognized that was an important need. So over the course of several years, of which really finally ended in COVID, we were able to build a surplus. And that, to me, is just the greatest, most relieving feeling, to allow the chamber to, maybe spend a little bit of extra money here or there, or just know that if something happens, if there is a downturn, if memberships change or the economy changes, that situation can be weathered a lot easier today than it could have been 5 years ago. And that's something I'm immensely proud to have been affiliated with. One of the most kind of novel things that happened, it was actually prior to my chairship, but right when COVID hit, My very first Zoom call that I ever did was with the chamber. And to me, that was so impressive, because when you think about how quickly that had to come together, because it was within days of us shutting down. So this is early March of 2020. No one really knew what Zoom was. No one really knew how to operate it. Some of us had done, video calls or whatever. But think about that now that we use it so much, or any Teams, whatever platform you want to talk about, all we do are video conference calls. But that was my very first one, and it was with the chamber. And to me, it's this testament of why the chamber works so well. It's just this little visual to explain that it takes the staff of the chambers. You have your youth that are technology driven and out there thinking, along with tenured business wisdom just within the staff of the chamber. And that group managed to pull together a video conference call and get a bunch of non-technology video people to join that call, and it worked perfectly. And I just find that so special, and it's exactly how the chamber approaches anything they need to do, which is, we have this small group of people, but we want to try to accomplish big things in the community, and here's how we're going to do it. And it's all those unique minds coming together. And I think of that Zoom call quite a bit. I will be honest with you, I wish we had no more video calls in the going forward, because who wouldn't like to go back to just a regular conference call where you can have natural facial reactions to people's silly ideas? But you get my point. It was just truly cutting edge for anybody at the time, and I'm so proud that the chamber was the first one for me. If you were ever going to be on a video call with Don Duke or Jim Maybach, just know you were going to get motion sickness, because they're just going to move that phone all over the place. I would love to share a memory on Judith Carrier. She was actually the chair when I very first became involved with the chamber years ago. And I didn't know what the chamber was all about. I was there representing the Rangers. I show up at my first meeting, and she was so kind and so genuine. That woman was busy. She did not have time to take me under her wing, but she did. She reached out to me outside of the meetings. She invited me to come meet with her at the campus that she was working at. She just really just showed this true, genuine heart, and was such a special leader. Every meeting I was in with her that she was running that meeting, she ran it with grace and with just true special intellect. I mean, she could command that room without ever raising her voice, without ever coming off in any way other than, I love this place and I want to help you. And she could always do that. I just find my memories of her so truly special. And she's a big part of why I decided to stay the Rangers representative for as long as I did. I know that she became head of the chamber not because she was a woman. She became head of the chamber because she was the right person for the job, and had already served in so many ways prior to that, and then continued to serve in so many years after that. That is a special human being, and anyone who met her and spent any time with her would know that. And I knew that instantly when I met her during that year that she was chair. But that's so not the last moment I got to interact with her. So what a special treat. The Inspired Women's Luncheon, I'm so glad you brought that up. I loved pointing out to this chamber that was the biggest event that this chamber did. It always has been one of the most profitable and truly the most furthest reaching event that the chamber did, the one single event. And I'm so incredibly proud of that. And long before I was ever involved with it in any way, I saw it on financials and I knew. And every time it came up, I'm like, that event is important. Let's give that all the support it needs. What's beautiful is the women of the chamber supported it entirely. And so that wasn't lost on me or the chamber. I find that event and the women's group of the chamber just to be a powerful force. So then to be invited and asked to speak, in fact, I said it in my speech. I was like, no, I'm not worthy. And I didn't want to follow Kenya, who was fabulous the year before. And I shouldn't say I didn't want to follow her. Of course, anybody would want to follow her. It was more, she was so impressive. And those are big shoes to fill because she did such a great job. But everything the chamber does is they find ways to give you resources to help you. And they connected me with Taronda, who was so wonderful to help me craft that speech in a way and work on it in a way that when I did get up there on the stage and had some nerves, I could get through it. And how wonderful is that? All of that happened purely because of the women of the chamber and that special group. It's really a remarkable thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't say one of the biggest things that the chamber was so instrumental in being involved with is helping get the new ballpark built. There was such a groundswell of work done and started by the chamber to help make sure that the business community and the community as a whole would vote yes to bring the ballpark and keep the ballpark in Arlington. So that is a legacy that will be here 20 years from today, and hopefully 20 years beyond that and beyond that. And that building helped launch or helped cement the entertainment district, which every day is constantly growing and growing. And that's just such a huge part of Arlington. It's not the only part of Arlington. There's so much more to Arlington than just the entertainment district. But that to me is what I think the chamber can hang their hat on, that this was a big deal and they were a huge part of making sure that happened. There's other things in the business community, but that of course is what is most personal to me. Well, I see it in multiple ways. I see Together We Succeed as the chamber itself, very specifically the staff of the chamber. I think Michael was instrumental in bringing a team together that really can work well together. And as I mentioned before, just has all these different unique pieces and parts in life and are different places in their respective lives to work together. And so together the chamber succeeds, and then together they are able to help bring the greater Arlington area in a way to succeed and find things that are important to the business community. I mean, Michael, having been in business for so long, he brought that business mindset of which a lot of the chamber staff also have the ability to bring, and being willing to listen to your business constituents. I mean, that's what matters. And it can't just be the big Texas Rangers or the big Dallas Cowboys. It also has to be the smaller businesses or even chains or restaurants. All those types of different locations need to have their voices heard. And I find that the staff of the chamber has the unique ability to do that and help make that happen. Now they need to reach out and grab other people to do that. That's why we have a giant board here. That's why we have a lot of active committees. But all of those things, together we succeed.